Well, Mr. Michael, you got a nice little division win, it looked like. That had to be nice to see. I wouldn't know. But it was really good to see for y'all. Put it together. Dallas overcoming Washington this last Sunday. Your offense is everything it would seem to be. Would you not agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were pointing out, a division win, anyone's great. A division win is twice as great. So yeah, I'll definitely take that for sure. Yeah, as you were saying, the offense did look quite good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, one of the first things I wasn't even what like. First of all, when I watch these games over and over and over again, I'm reminded of Clayton Adams, your offensive coordinator. I'm like, I used to be a Cardinal guy, and I'm
Yeah,
missing it very much right now. Your offensive line's totally playing well. You have some of the least sacks allowed in the NFL through 7 games. So that's got to be nice, and it's making everything else work well. Javonte Williams, Dak has time most of the time, and he's good at extending anyway. I mean, he's not Lamar Jackson kind of speed, but like
right.
he's good at extending plays.
Yeah.
So it seems like everything on offense is working together. Let's talk about the other side of the ball just real quick, though. What did you think of the defense here? It seems like they held it together pretty well, like better than, I mean, they didn't give up 30, 40 points, so that's something, right?
Yeah. So that's worth probably bringing up and talking through. Yeah. So everyone's talking about, oh, well, they said they were going to make some changes on defense. In to be fair to Washington, I think it's fair to point out that Scary Terry was not playing, and
Yep.
neither was Noah Brown. Now, these are the two guys that, if you were looking at it from Dallas's point of view, these are the two guys you would be most afraid of coming into this game. Noah Brown is a funny way of catching the long ball in impossible situations, and Terry needs no introduction. So, we already had a little bit of things going in our favor. Now, I'm not trying to take away from our defense and any change we may or may not have made, but I think it's fair to bring that up about Washington, right? It's like, hey, that's fair.
Yeah.
Um, I think that we did a pretty good job of shutting down their basic running game on from a defensive standpoint. The quarterbacks got some yardage in. Marcus Mariota running again was pretty painful to see. But overall, we gave 136 yards. Really, only about 50 or 60 of that was to running backs. The rest was to quarterbacks. And so this whole like, let's make them beat us in the air. They were not able to do that with the before mentioned
Depletion.
lack of wide receivers. Now,
Yeah.
with that being said, Dallas has been in a very similar situation this season. We just got CeeDee Lamb back, so you gotta make do with what you got. It's also probably important to point out that Jaden had that awkward hit when Kenneth Murray Jr. came in to tackle him. I thought it was a pretty clean tackle overall. You're trying to hold on to Jaden because he goes all over. The ball came out. Jaden kind of made an awkward lunge to try to go jump on the ball, and Kenneth was holding him. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but I mean, that definitely throws off any game plan you have when your quarterback is no longer in the game. So I'm glad to hear that Jaden doesn't seem to be overly long-term injured. I think we'll see him back, but that was a big moment in the game to shift things. With that being said, we ended up with 4 sacks. Can't argue with that. One of the best things on defense, it's fun to see Deron Bland get a pick 6. We've seen that before from him, but it's been fun to see Jadeveon Clowney
Yeah.
becoming more involved and more an impact. It's easy to forget how enormous that individual is, and he looks it when he plays. He is becoming the lion kind of that he was before. It's a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see how he continues to go. But yeah, I think from a defense side of all, there were a lot of positives, but we may want to watch a team that's at full strength before we make too quick of a judgment. Does that make sense to you, or you think like I'm shortchanging them a little bit there?
No, no, I think that you capitalized where you should have capitalized. And as much as that's like, well, yeah, I was like, not every team does. Not every team manages to pull that off. So if you did what you were supposed to do against a weakened opponent, and especially after Jaden went down, they were an
Yeah.
even more weakened opponent. So I don't see any way of debating, suggesting any different, that your offense is absolutely elite. It may be the best offense in the NFL. If for no other reason, I know you haven't scored like 55 or whatever that Detroit
Right.
did, but you haven't. Have you gotten stuffed once this year? Have you had one game where it was
I
like
don't think
under
so
20
this year.
points? It's
Oh,
just
under 20 points maybe, but no, I
did
don't
you?
think so actually.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, Like it has been incredibly consistent. Like you can count on Dallas scoring 30 points or something like that. So it's that'll keep you dangerous, and it will let your defense at the very least play as opportunistic. So there's some real stuff there. We don't talk about this other part of your team's game that much. I did want to point something out. You have some elements to your special teams that is pure magic. I read or saw whatever that Aubrey set the record. He's already got the record for the most 60-yarders by a quarterback ever.
Kicker, yeah.
He's
a quarterback. Yeah, it's all good.
No quarterbacks got a whole bunch of 60-yarders. That's crazy. But yeah, he's doing great. And then on the other side, on the opening kickoff, you could just see the explosiveness of Kevontae Turpin. Like that man, he's got a different way of moving, kind of like how Tyreek Hill. You can just tell, like that's a different kind of human being running there. He is psychotically fast.
Yeah,
and he will rip some off at some point this season. I don't know if he'll get a touchdown because that's just so hard, but he's going to get, he's going to have you starting at the 40 or the 50 frequently. So you have some great things going for you on special teams. And it's weird to talk about that. One reason I point that out is my special teams, we have a pretty good, place kicker, but other than that, we're the most mid-average kind of team. So seeing some team do it really well and be really dangerous there is really something. So that is something I thought they deserved kind of a shout out.
Yeah, and they do get overlooked. Like it was Turpin though, who what was it last year had the spin move where and that's I don't think people really paid attention. He doesn't score tons of touchdowns on kickoffs per se, but that one was obviously notable. And in this game actually, he had a catch where it was like just to throw out to the side, and he caught it, and you could just see it's like his acceleration doesn't end. He just constantly accelerates. He just keeps getting impossibly faster as he runs. So yeah, I agree. It's always good to give them a shout out because, like you said, they do tend to get overlooked. In this one, I think that the guys, the main players remain the main players. Yep. Obviously, the big story in this one, CeeDee Lamb being back. And how does Dak feel about that? Dak feels pretty good, The other thing was, how does it work with George and CeeDee? And the iconic play on this one, I think, to go to that was that play where CeeDee's cutting across. George is already out down the left side. CeeDee's cutting across and catches the pass, and he's over there, and there's no one behind either one of them. So George is like, "Come on, man, we're gonna score," and they're like celebrating together in the end zone. And that seems like there's a real chance for them to really team up in that way, which only makes Jake Ferguson, who's become a in zone, terror, even more dangerous than he was. Because who in the world do you have left to cover him? If you're trying to double team CeeDee Lamb and somehow cover Pickens, Ferguson is open, which kind of leaves those other guys open as well. And then as soon as you find a way to cover all of them, Javonte Williams keeps running like I think right now he's number 2 in the league in yards.
Yep.
And he's like tied for first in touchdowns or something like that. No, he's tied for third in touchdowns, I think. But either way, it's like I'm still amazed by how productive he's been in the offense. It does help, obviously, when you've got a receiving core that's this active and all that. And kind of, you and I talk a lot about how much we value offensive line, but it's funny how much I will overlook their play in an actual game, like the reasons why. And I think you bringing up the offensive line coach, is really good credit that he deserves. Is how quickly he's been an impact with a bunch of guys that really. I mean, this is one of the first games we've had most of our offensive line back. We're still missing our center. So once BB is back, it'll be interesting to see how he works back in and not needing to feel rushed because we're getting it done against some real competitive opponents. There has been a lot of fun as well. So I would agree. I think it was Rex Ryan. I saw him say that the last time Dallas has had an offense like this was Troy.
Yeah,
was in those years. And now if they can just keep healthy and kind of keep some momentum. It should make it very challenging juxtaposed against what our defense has been this year, so.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you some opportunity though. If your defense can put it together a little, maybe they do go out and make a trade that makes some big impact, which would feel odd after the offseason, I know, but still, maybe they do, it seems like not a necessity, but something they should definitely look at to capitalize on what is clearly a Super Bowl caliber offense. You don't want to waste that. You don't want to squander that. Things are working this year for all the reasons combined, and you don't want to waste that. It'd be the same if your defense was elite like Cleveland's, and they don't want to waste it, but they just don't really have a choice. So don't be Cleveland, which I think you don't really want to be. So, yeah, the Clayton Adams thing, I keep going back to it. I'm sorry to keep harking on it, but it really just ruins me because you have allowed some of the fewest sacks in the NFL with a bunch of backups. Yeah. We have all 5 starters and are the 3rd most. So when I say we miss him, I mean, I might go to Dallas and steal him away.
If he disappears, I'll know where he went.
Yes, that's he's somehow duct taped to the sideline in Arizona, and I done did it. No, kidding. I did not do that just in case the FBI is watching.
You do highlight, though, that it's not just having the right players, right? Because I think we both agree that the offensive linemen on the Cardinals are good offensive linemen. Like, they have a reputation that it's well built. But there's the scheme matters, the plan matters, the guy to tie that all together, all that talent together matters. I think this has been a real good learning curve for me, and like how important that is, So I think you bringing it up again is not a bad thing. It's credit where credit's due. So yeah. Now the question will be is, can our defense hold teams off of 30 points every week? And is our offense going to start dropping 40 points? Because, as you watch this game, it almost felt like we should we didn't even score this many points. It just seemed so like, oh, look, another touchdown. Oh, there's a touchdown kind of a thing. And it didn't even feel like 40 points. And all of a sudden it was 40 points. It was kind of overly smooth in that regard. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see if we can maintain some kind of pace. 30 plus points a game for the duration of the season would be pretty wild.
It would. Yeah. I mean, again, it lends back to that defense stuff. And then the question that we've got to still be asking, even though this was a relatively solid performance by your defense, there's got to still be that looming question of how long are we going with Eberflus, the defensive coordinator here?
I agree.
And no one knows the answer to this. I don't even know that Jerry Jones knows the answer to this. So we'll see. It's kind of hard to complain with winning, but at the same time, you have to see the defense is struggling. You could copy and paste some of the same ideas we were just talking about with offensive line to this idea and be like, maybe the coach really would make a big difference. We'll see. But I mean, outside of that, man, this game it had some other interesting things in it. Y'all capitalizing on some great opportunities. I circled in that you scored before the end of the first half. And those are huge. I think that teams that can do that can have like, all right, there's a minute left before the half. Let's go get a touchdown and then do it. Or I think it was just 48 seconds or something. That's huge. That is huge. That is a momentum annihilator.
Yeah.
It is. My team doesn't do that. We really don't do that very often. And so, like, for y'all to be able to do that, it just everything we said about the offense already being consistent. You add this like level of clutch, this exceptional way of running the 2-minute drill, so to speak, and you just get a more dangerous team. Even so, I hate to keep extolling virtues of your offense, but it really is the complete package. And I'm not saying you have an MVP at every position. That's Jerry Rice, and that's Randy Moss, and so on and so forth. But like they are as a unit, they have no weakness on offense. There is none, and not just like in the players, but in like what they're able to do. And that's the most exciting thing to watch. I dread it in 2 weeks. So.
That'll be a wild game.
It'll be wild watching me throw stuff. But
probably of me.
But anyway, who do you have this coming week? Not that we're gonna get deep dive this game just yet, but who do you have? It's Denver.
Yeah, Denver coming off that unbelievably wild win against the Giants. So, and I think Denver's a good team, but that was inexplicably wild.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that says a lot about them being clutch as well. So. Someone's got to come out on top. It should be a really good game for Denver, but we'll get unless you got anything else to add, we'll just get into that game a bit more later on this week. So,
the only thing I'll add is that'll be such a great test of all the things we just said about how great the offense is, because Denver's defense is really, really good. So, no, that's all I'll add to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That'll be the unstoppable force and the immovable object kind of
Right.
thing, or as close as we may get this year. So,
Yep.
it's all right. Well, we'll get into that more later this week. Thanks for joining us, everyone, or anyone who did. We did a little bit more free form than we normally do today because we just decided we wanted to have a little bit more fun with it that way, and this kind of fits our personalities a bit better. So I appreciate you and have some patience with us, or tell us it was stupid. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers at some point, so appreciate you if you're willing to do that. Join us again. We'll do some other stuff later this week, like power rankings and picks for the week. And until then, I hope you have a fantastic day and an exceptionally fun week.